Hi everyone, today I'm gonna be doing a demonstration on Excel. Very basic functions, but you must know how to do it. Now on the assignment you will have to do it, and you can be very smart and just copy paste it and then submit it. That's great. But the problem is you're not going to learn how to do it. And further down the road, when I ask you to do the assignments, that's going to be very troublesome because you don't know how to do the basic functions and end up you're going to be watching this video one more time because you don't know how to do it. So what I recommend you to do it is follow my instructions, do it the way I'm doing it, and then practice a lot. It's very simple, it's very easy, but you have to practice. If not, this doesn't work by doing one time and that's all. Okay, so first of all, let's look through some of the basics of Excel, right? So let's first of all look at what's a tab, what's a ribbon, and what's a group. Okay, this is gonna be very useful to know this terminology because when I mention, okay, you can look on the insert tab or you can look into the ribbon, then that is when it's gonna make a difference. Okay, so so in this case, let's look first at very simple terms. Okay, so first of all, the tab, we have insert tab, page layout, formulas. All of these are tabs. Okay, these are the tabs. Now we look at the ribbons. This whole square is a ribbon. Okay, all this long one is a ribbon. Okay, so within the ribbon there's also specific groups. In this case, for example, the insert ribbon has the font group, which is all about fonts, the alignment group, the number group, the styles group, sales group, etc. Okay, so now, so we go there. Okay, now we're done. We're done with that number two. So let's go to number three. What is a column? What is a row? What is a cell? And what is a range through? Okay, so first of all, let's go. So in this case, we have a column. Is this one? That is a column. Okay. Then we have a row, goes in this direction, that is a row. Okay, these are cells. I'm trying to make it, but there's a cell. So we have a lot of cells here. One cell, two cell, three cells, etc., etc. And what is a range through? A range through is, let's say for example, if I have this data, a range through is columns and rows and cells. That's a range through. Okay, that's a range through. Okay, so now we have also, those are very basics, and I'm gonna be doing them manually later. So when I say range, cell, range, column, range through, I'm gonna be using this terminology, so please memorize it. Now we have sheets and worksheets, or worksheets. So we have, for example, here below we have instructions, we have data explain, etc. Those are sheets or worksheets. And then when we have many of them, we call it a workbook. I'm gonna simplify just workbook like that. Otherwise, it takes me forever. So that's a workbook. Here we have a workbook with 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets. So sometimes I'm gonna be asking you go to the data explain sheet and open this, or you have to do multiple sheets. That's why it's important. Okay, so now let's go through some very different things. I'm gonna change to the raw data sheet. I'm gonna shift to there. We're gonna be working in that one. Okay, so you have to now click the raw data sheet. I'm gonna go there. Okay, okay, so we have here the raw data. So first of all, we have a lot of data that is we have a lot of the raw data in there, right? So what we're gonna do in here is first of all we have Sorry about that, but I'm trying to look for my pointer. So we have the raw data. Raw data means it's untouched, it's not done anything, we haven't formatted and looks ugly, looks terrible. So what we're gonna do first is adjust a couple things. Okay, so very good. So now the first thing that I'm gonna do is adjusting the cell size. So this is a cell. If you realize in here, McDonald's doesn't fit, and Starbucks doesn't fit, Jump Brands doesn't fit. What the majority of the people do is manually do it, and that takes you a lot of time. So what you're gonna do is just gonna go here, look at the arrow, and the arrow has black. It has block and 2 arrows to the sides. So what I go is go there, wait until to appear. If the arrow is pointing to the bottom, that's not right. You have to go there and then double click very quickly. Okay, and it's gonna adapt to the length of the largest cell. Okay, gonna do it one more time. See, for example, it was like this. I go there, double click, then we go. There we go. So we have in this case profits. Let's try it, but it's not going to change because it's just making it smaller only, and in this case it's adjusting just a little bit more in the profits percentage. Okay, so first we have that. So we are adapting and adjusting to the cell size so that everything is clear. We can see all the data. So that is a shortcut for us to format that data. Now, in terms of we're being in a cell. When I ask you, for example, this is the content that we have in here. So one more time, I go through when I talk arrange through is selecting like this. That is arrange through. So please go through select arrange through. That means select all the date. Okay, so I'm going to show you some very simple shortcuts. So first of all, you're going to try here Control Shift down. I repeated, Control Shift down, and that's going to select all the data, well, all the column in one go. Okay, why? Because here is the number of columns and cells is very small. You can see it's only 11. Yes, that's fantastic. I can do it manually, but what happens when you have over 20,000 rows? You will spend days doing that. So that's why we have to learn that. We have to learn how to do Shift Control down, and also I can do to the side and I select all the data, or I can say Control A and I can select all the data. You have to know how to use this one because, like I said, you have to save time. Doing this manually doesn't work. Don't do it. So again, one more time, Control Shift down, sorry, Control Shift down, and then to the right, and I select all the data. I'm gonna give you a website with all the shortcuts so that you can use them, but pretty much this is the easiest. These are the easiest ones. Okay, so pretty much in this one we have selecting all the cells, right? I can copy, I can paste them. That is like a normal copy paste, but also we have other options for pasting, like for example when we want to do it as well, in this one, of course I need to select it, then either I control copy and then I have paste. Okay, paste special. I can paste only the values if I want to do it, or I can paste just the formulas, etc., etc. We're going to talk about that later, but that one is not important for now. Okay, so anyways, I have all my data there, right? So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to select them and I'm going to create a table. That is important. I'm on a number 7 in the instructions, so create a table. So in this case, I'm gonna select again all my data, Control Shift bottom, all of them, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the insert tab here on the top. Okay, insert, then you can see table. Okay, table there. Now, in this case, you have to pay attention to one very important area that says my table has headers. In this case, I have company, profits. Yes, it has headers, so I'm gonna leave it on. Okay, and then you have to change where is the data, where is the data for your table. I have to make sure that is Correct. So in this case, A1, and then we have the two dots, one dot, two dot, through, that means through C11. So which is C11. Okay, C11. So from A1 through C11. That okay? Yes, I want to do that. So what I'm going to do is okay. That's going to create a table for me. Okay? So once we create the table, we can start to do a little bit of formatting too. These tables are going to be useful because with simple clicks, we're going to be adjusting the data. For example, here the profits, if you realize the data is not in order. Here we have, well, this is the largest number, but this is not the smallest. 121 is not the smallest number, right? So what we have to do, you see, this is the largest, but this is not the smallest. That means the data is mixed up. So what I have to do is I'm gonna click this button, and with that button, I'm gonna click it, and then I'm gonna sort it from the largest to the smallest. So it's gonna rearrange all the data. Okay, so now you can see this is the largest, this is the largest, and this is the smallest, and that works very, very well for me. Okay, so now what we also have to do in this case is change the value format, the conditional formatting. So for example, in this one, here we have it in percentage, but I can remove it. So for example, this one is in percentage, but maybe I could click here and remove. Well, I could do this percentage. Let me give you an example. This one I can do it as a percentage. No, this one doesn't work very well because of the format that we have. But anyways, what we're gonna do in this case, I want to change the format to money. So in this case, for example, I'm gonna select all this data one more time. Shift Control down, Shift Control down, and then I'm gonna go to here on the home. Then on the group of number, I'm gonna change it to currency. Okay, so in the currency, maybe I wanna put the English. United States means it's gonna change it to US dollars. Oh no, something happened in there. Don't get scared when you do that. What you have to do, that meaning is that now the size of the cell is too small for that value, so you need to readjust. And then I readjusted, and that works very well. Now I can see that um, that that the numbers are reflected in USD, in dollars. I could also do it in wons if I want. If I want to change the currency, I can do it, for example, in Korean won, right? But I'm not gonna do wons because in this class, you already have some problems, some of you, with with um, with the numbers, and that's gonna make it more complicated. So let's use for this time USD, right? So we're gonna change that, and then of course now we're gonna go to some basic for formula setting. Okay, so let's look to some formulas. Sorry for that interruption. There were a bit of technical issues here with one of my devices. So anyways, let's continue. So this one, let's try to do some basic formulas. Here I'm gonna create an additional table. Okay, so in this case, when I have, for example, the data explain, the data explain. Here I'm gonna go to the data explain. For example, well, I'm gonna do an additional table so that I can reflect the formulas in a much easier way. Okay, so for this one, what I'm gonna do is, first of all, the minimum function means I'm gonna label it. Okay, then we're gonna do the max function. Okay, and let's try to work with it. Okay, so in this case, what I'm gonna do, this is the formula var. The formula var, we're always going to start with equals and then minimum. Okay, and already it's going to give me some options, right? Already the Excel is smart enough to calculate and say, well, I have these possible formulas for you. Which one would you like? Usually here I want min, and already starts to give you the minimum and the maximum. So I wanna find one is the minimum number in where it's gonna ask you. The parentheses ask you on which parentheses. Let me go. This is the formula. He's gonna ask you the minimum of what? Well, in this case, I want the minimum of this column. So I have to make a value through of that. Okay. So in this case, I got the minimum of. I select it, and then I enter. Okay. So which is the lowest value means it's 91. And then I'm gonna do also the same thing, equals. I can do it, my formulas, I can do them either here or here. That doesn't matter. I can just play with that. Okay. Anyways, equals max, double click, can select that one, or I can just put the parentheses, it depends up to me, and then I select all the data one more time. If I can do it manually like that, or I can use shortcuts, shift, control down, and select all the one. Okay, or even I can, if I have a table, I can already just select the column, and that could work as well. Okay, so it tells me that. Now in this case, you realize that this number is not formatted, so what you have to do is do the formatting also. I want also you to display it in English United States, in US dollars, right? So we have that information in there, right? Now here we have some other ones. Also we have, for example, the total. I can also do the total of that. For example, in this one, for the total, I was doing the sum. Okay, so let's do the sum function. So in this case, I want to know what's the total of everything. Total, and then I will just equals sum of, then I can either put the parentheses and start from this one, then I select all my data, and that's it. So meaning if I were to add everything, if I were to add all these numbers, it's gonna give me this total. Okay, very good. So now what else? One other function, average. So in this case, what is the average? I can look at the average. It can, in this way, I'm gonna do it from the average of the percentages. Let's do the average of the percentages. Let's work a different one. So in this case, I'm gonna do average. This one is average. I was using mean because that's the mathematical one, but here I'm gonna use this one. So average of this one. Then I'm gonna hit enter one more time, and then also I'm gonna change it to percentage, 49%. Okay, very good. So matches. Okay, very good. So now we have some of the basic ones. There's also, for example, other functions like auto sum. Like that's a very quick one. I have this one, and I can just auto sum. Oh, sorry, let me go very quick. Here's the auto sum. Okay, so what I can do is here I go, and then I go auto sum, and then I'll do it. Okay, very good. Now I'm gonna remove that one because that one is not. I don't need it now. I'm just gonna undo it. Okay, it doesn't matter for now. So let's continue to some other things. So for example, in this case, let's look at there is one function called the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function is very complex. I'm gonna teach it to you, but I don't feel that it's too useful. Firstly, because it's complex and it fails very often. Most of you are gonna have a lot of problems with it. If you don't manage to get it, at the first time you're gonna ask me questions, please ask me the questions, okay? So let's look into the VLOOKUP function. So if we look at the VLOOKUP function, first of all we need to set the variable that we're gonna be looking for. Okay, so in this case, for example, you say the company. I'm gonna look here, company, and then I'm gonna put here invest decision. Okay. Now, for this thing, I have to build a couple of I have to build a couple of things first, because if you see, for example, here I have this one, it says 30%, this one 37% invest, 39% invest, etc. So when to invest and when not to invest. So let's let Excel calculate it by itself. So it says, for example, here, if the value on C3, let me go. If the value on the cell C3, which is C3, is higher than 30%, then invest. And you have to do it with quotes. Okay? Comma, and then if not, then you're going, if that doesn't fulfill that, you're gonna write leave. Here the text is open. You can write invest, you can put yes, you can put no. Okay, and that's when I'm gonna use invest on or leave. Let's play a little bit with it. So in this case, for example, let's go to the raw data. So if C is higher than, let's say, 30%, comma, yes, this one, close the quote, comma, if false, no, then I have to close. Okay, so automatically does it, and it says one more time. One more time. If C is higher than 30%, higher than 30%, right? Yes. If not, then comma. If not, then write no. Okay, so in this one, like I said, I can change everything. If this one, I can say, for example, if it's higher than 30%, I can say write blue. See, you see how it changes? So in this one, I can play with that. So in this one, I'm gonna write something more meaningful, like we did in the example, invest or leave, like in my example. Okay, and then it changes automatically everything because it's a column. So in this case, for example, what I can do is also change this one to invest. Okay, very good. So first I have to do that. Okay. Um, Also, for example, what we can do when it's not a table, and let's say, for example, I have a value here, 91, 92, another shortcut, 90, 93. I can do some automatic functions. For example, if I have 91, 92, 93, I go and there's a little plus. I put it on the corner, on the bottom corner, and then I can pull it, and then it's going to continuously do numbers like that. Okay, this works for that. Also works for Monday. Tuesday. That's enough. I select the two of them, and I can okay, and that continue. Okay, the same thing as I can do some other shortcuts. This one, for example, what I can do, I'm gonna delete this. Say, for example, equals I. What's this one? Equals I 3 plus 2. Okay, so I have this one plus 2, and also I can pull it and I can do the same formula. Okay, that's gonna be making every formula consecutively I5 plus 2, I6 plus 2, I7 plus 2. I can see that here. It's continuously doing that when I pull the formula like that. Okay, so that is for doing the same one. Okay, so those are just some shortcuts. So anyway, so now let's continue to that. So the invest decision. So first of all, I want to know if the company, what company. I want to do a very simple uh, menu, and I want to know if I write a company here or I choose a company here, I want you to tell me whether I should invest or not very quickly. So in this case, for example, I am going to select this one. I'm gonna go to the data here. Sorry, I'm gonna make it the data. Okay, then I'm gonna put here data. Sorry, there, company, and then I'm gonna go to data validation. Okay, data validation. I'm gonna click it, and then what I'm gonna do is gonna create a drop-down menu. So what I'm gonna do here is in any value. No, I want a list of what is gonna ask you, whether in a cell drop down or what. So in this case, I'm gonna do is I'm asking you where do you wanna take that list from? So this list I wanna take it from this column. Okay, A2 through A11. So in this case, I have it, and that. Then after that, I'm gonna click OK. Okay, very good. So in this case, I have it, and then it's gonna create our drop-down list. Here I can choose McDonald's, Starbucks, Darden restaurants, Panera bread, etc. Okay, very good. So now we're gonna go through the VLOOKUP function. Like I said, this one is not that easy. So in the VLOOKUP function, I want to say equals VLOOKUP. This there appears there. VLOOKUP. So whatever I write in this cell in G9, then you're gonna put the table array. In which table? In this table. Okay. In what column? Well, I want to know invest or not. I want to know if it's invest. So it's column 1, 2, 3, 4. So column 4. And that should be all. So in this case, for example, that's going to tell me whatever I write in here is going to change. So for example, Panera bread. Panera bread. Let me get my pointer. Panera bread, Panera bread, Panera bread. It says leave. True or not? Okay. So in this case, whatever I write in this one is going to change. Look. Let's look at, for example, Starbucks. So I can change here to Starbucks. In this one, I forgot to put it. False. Invest. Sorry, I had to add something else. Okay, sorry. Sometimes we have to do the false always. That helps us to exact match. It changes otherwise sometimes if it's not written well or so. Like I said, this VLOOKUP function is very troublesome. Just learn how to do it. Just follow me exactly, and that's all. Don't complicate your match too much your life. So in this case we have false. It's a false, right? So again, whatever I write in G9, look at all the data of table 1 on the column 4 and tell me whether it's right or not. Okay, so in this case, like I said, now what I can do is change everything Yum Brands, and now Yum Brands invest. Let's see if it's correct. Chipotle Mexican Grill, Chipotle, there we have it. Leave. So that means it's correct. Okay, so that is the VLOOKUP function. This one, I'm sure many of you are gonna ask me that you cannot do it. So again, just look at that, and if you have any more questions, just go to the data explain, and then I explaining here how it works. Okay, now let's look for one more function, and it's the COUNTIF. Okay, So in this case, we're gonna look at the COUNTIF. Um, mm, mm, mm. COUNTIF. This one I was doing invest or leave. Sorry. Okay, invest, leave. So we're gonna be counting COUNTIF, the range. Okay. Then I'm gonna put in this range. If you find define the word in parentheses invest, then tell me how many of that. Okay, so tells me 4. Okay, I can copy that formula. I can copy it. I can Control C and Control B. The problem is that this is gonna copy exactly the same thing. So what I can do is on this formula, for example, I can just do leave, so I don't have to copy the whole thing. Okay, so let's count. Let's just go very quickly to see if the formula was working. So remember in this case what I was telling. In this cell, count if, or count how many. If it says invest, count it. Okay, so let's say invest 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right? Yeah, that's correct. 4 of them. Say leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right. There's 6 in there. So that means the formula is correct. Okay, and that works very well. Okay, very good. What else I have in here? Okay, let's do conditional formatting, the last thing, and then we're done for the day. So in this case, also we can see which numbers are good or which numbers I have to highlight very quickly. So in this case, for example, what I'm gonna do is just gonna go to the home tab. Then in this ribbon, I'm gonna look home tab, conditional formatting. Okay, so now what I'm gonna select this data. Like I said, I'm not gonna do it. I have to show you how to do the shortcuts, because if not, you're not gonna do them ever. Okay, so this one again, one more time. Control Shift bottom, Control Shift arrow down, and then I do conditional formatting. Okay, conditional formatting, and in this one I'm gonna choose one very simple one. There's many ways of doing it, but let's just gonna choose very simple one. So it's by colors. Okay, so what it's gonna do automatically is gonna change the colors according to the values. So in this case, if I want the highest to be the highest, I want it to be green, and the lowest I want it to be very red, and it gradually starts to change the color into like a traffic light. Okay, very good. So we have it in there, right? In this case, I can also this one. I can do it insert, and I can do table. However, my table has no headers. I'm not gonna do it. And this one, why did the headers? Well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because we can header row here. Sorry, if there's any mistakes that you realize that there's, for example, in this case I did the header, I clicked it and I didn't realize. You can also in the design tab, you can also change this thing header row. I can remove it. Okay, so I can just go to the header row and remove it, and that's it. Okay, so there you have it. I can also fix it one more time. Chipotle Mexican, etc., etc. Right? These ones I can control them, and then black, and then pretty much looks the same one as I did before. Okay, so pretty much that's it. Filtering data, already we have it. Autofill functions, we already did it. Series copies, we already did it. Freezing panels also. Okay, this one, freezing panels, I don't think it's very useful, but still I'm going to teach you how to do it. So in this case, for example, we have the view freeze panes. So for example, if I put there, I can freeze panes, and then I can freeze the first column. Okay, so what's gonna do here, I don't have a lot of data, but let's assume that I go go to the right, and that's gonna be frozen. First column is gonna be frozen. This is very useful when you have large sets of data and you need to be looking at the original column, okay, or the original columns. So in this case, like I said, I use freeze panes. You can play with that a little bit. Also, you can do more columns if necessary on freeze panes, then freeze panes, then that can change already everything, and they can freeze some panes. Okay, so I'm gonna unfreeze them. So anyways, that's it for today. So what I expect you to do is to do exactly to look like mine, right? In this case, use the raw data. You have some instructions in here, but those are the instructions for me. It's for me to remember. Usually I do this in class, but not this time around. So make sure that it looks like this. And again, there's the drop down functions, everything. It looks very nice in there. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. And then if you have questions, which you will probably will have, please approach me. Again, do not copy mine. Do it by yourself. Play with Excel. Make mistakes. Get frustrated. That's the part of learning Excel. If you don't get frustrated, that means you didn't do it properly, because you always have to get frustrated with it. And this one, you can contact me directly through Kakao, because otherwise it takes me forever to reply if you send me emails. So just send me Kakao messages, okay? Thank you so much, and then I'll talk to you soon.